The day Chris disappeared, he had plans to hang out with Carlotta, his girlfriend at the time.
I had known Carlotta for a long time. They would talk on the phone every day. That was the thing. Talking on the phone was the way we spent time together. And Chris would call her as often as I would call my girlfriend. So they had something between them that was pretty important to both of them.
Dale, Chris's mom, was headed out of town with Cherie, Chris's sister, to go shopping. Dale gets home from shopping, unloads the car, and is just wondering, where's Chris? Time's going by and she just hasn't seen him, so she figured he's probably out with his friends. She asked Jackson, his stepfather, "Jackson, have you seen Chris? Do you know where he's at? Did he tell you where he went?" Jackson said he had no idea where he was. But the next thing happens is that there's a knock at the door, and Carlotta's at the door. And Carlotta's mad.
They were supposed to get together for some event, something they wanted to do together, and he basically just never showed up.
Once Dale realizes that Chris is not with Carlotta, she starts panicking. Because it's not like him to just not let anybody know where he was. So she decides to go across the street to Robert, who's one of Chris's closest friends, and asks Robert, "Hey, have you seen Chris?"
I believe my answer to her question, "Have you seen Chris?" was, the last time I saw him, he was carrying a dog, dead. Chris's biological father sent him 2 dogs for a birthday gift. And they were beautiful dogs. They were hound dogs.
The last time Robert had seen Chris was the day before, when Chris showed up at his house with a dog in his arm. He thinks that the dog had gotten into some rat poison. Robert tells Dale that Chris was having a hard time, and Robert was really concerned that Chris decided to run away.
Chris did want to run away for a very long time. Most of the time when Chris would talk about running away, he was Southern California.
Dale calls her ex-husband in LA to find out if Chris had checked in. Maybe Chris is there, but he hadn't heard from Chris either.
She looked around and made phone calls, did everything that a normal parent would do to try to find her son. But after it became apparent, he's gone. And so she ended up calling the police department and making a missing person report regarding her son.
What happens is once we get the information, that information is entered into the national database that this young man's a missing person. So let's say I'm a police officer in Northern California and I stop a car and he happens to be driving it. If I run his name in the system, it will show that he's missing.
As far as people that theorized where he might be, there was 2 schools of thought. We all knew he was gonna run away, and he did. And then there was the Carlotta, like, he wouldn't have left me like that. I never once considered that him running away was not what happened. So yeah, I never thought that he was anywhere but in the Southern California. And he's living his best life.